I'm Alex Wolfe from Information Week. We're here with Kevin Knox, AMD Vice President. We're talking about the rough and tumble server market. I said it's a hot server market where you guys have Barcelona, you're competing against Xeon. You said that's not the way to talk about it. Why? There's a marketing message there that you don't like that.
The whole issue of power and heat in the data center, this is actually what we're hearing is one of the top issues with pretty much every IT organization across the globe.
Let's look at Aaron.
that we're talking to. And the issue of power is actually an interesting one in that it's not just power. So yeah, absolutely. When you're talking about oil, which was over $100 not too long ago, the issue of your power bill is certainly one of the big things on people's mind. But actually, in a lot of data centers, what we're hearing is the issue of having to cool these servers. People are spending more money on air conditioning than they are on the actual power to run these servers. And in the end, in places like New York City, and London and Tokyo, the issue of density of, there's no place to build new data centers, or the cost of building new data centers is astronomical. And then finally, we can't forget about the green aspect, because the green aspect is extremely important, and the impact that IT technology in general is having on the environment. So it's a hot topic.
So among IT managers, what is the big thing? Is it still a server consolidation play, or has that really happened, and is it now more with the cost of energy? People are just nuts about the cost that they're spending on power.
Well, I think it's a combination of both. What we're actually seeing is that, there's definitely a server consolidation play, but that doesn't mean they're leaving more room in their data centers. They're actually filling them up as quickly as they're consolidating, just because we've been so underutilized from a performance or a capacity perspective on performance. So, they're filling this up. We don't see virtualization today, at least, having the impact that a lot of people are saying, well, people are going to buy less hardware. We don't see that happening. In fact, we're seeing people buy hardware at a faster rate and higher-end hardware because they want to continue to add performance and cycles into their data centers.
Now, we talked about the power aspect, but when you sell the Barcelona and the Opteron against Intel, what is it? Is it a performance thing? Now, you have a new architecture, but I know they're telling their customers, hey, we got 45 nanometer, and AMD doesn't have that yet.
Right. So what's interesting is that 45 nanometer or 65 nanometer or any nanometer for that matter, frankly, end users shouldn't care about something like that, because in the end, that's not directly what delivers business value to the end user customers. So kind of the way that we look at it, and one of the interesting trends that we're seeing is this whole notion of performance and what is performance. Back in the good old days, or I should say the easy old days, we used to look at megahertz or gigahertz and say, boy, that's how I compared one system to another or one processor to another. Really what we're seeing today is people are becoming much more sophisticated, because when you talk about things like virtualization, or you talk about power, and a number of other areas, really what you're talking about is performance. Virtualization is how much performance can I get from a multiple operating systems running on a single server. If you look at power, it's how much performance can I get in a fixed amount of power. So a lot of organizations now are becoming much more sophisticated and saying, well, performance isn't just about a spec int benchmark or a spec FP benchmark. It's really what's delivering the most amount of benefit to my organization.
Okay, and now servers, when a lot of people think of servers, they think of commodity servers, but there's a really interesting area at the high end with multiple socket servers. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So if you look at the high end of the market, 4Ps as an example, this has been an area that we've done extremely well in.
And 4P, that's you have multiple you'll have 4 sockets with a quad core in each socket, so that's 16 physical cores. CPUs in the server.
Exactly. And we see this for a number of different application sets, but the two I would identify probably as the target areas for a lot is the whole space of virtualization. Mm-hmm. So virtualization is interesting. A lot of people tend to focus on how fast my virtual sessions run. It's actually a lot of companies are saying, Kevin, I'm more interested in how many virtual sessions I can get on a single server.
So if you can have 4 virtual sessions and you have 16 physical CPUs, that's 64 instances of the OS running on that one server.
Exactly. And theoretically, you're replacing a server for each of those instances, right, if you were running a 1-to-1 ratio before. So the whole area of virtualization. The other area that we see is that it's a great end platform for people who are looking for ways to get off of traditional RISC Unix platforms, more proprietary, higher cost. So the 4-way space is where they're taking a lot of these, a lot of it is coming over on Linux, and we're seeing those run on those 4-way systems.
Okay, so what do you see happening as 2007 moves forward? Is it basically you deploying You had quad-core in the marketplace, and I've only been talking about the quad Opterons, but you still have many, many SKUs of dual-core Opterons too.
Right. So, so again, kind of going back to what we talked about earlier, there's still a market for people who want to be able to continue to exploit, dual core, and there's some people who say single core. We may sell them quad core, and they may not fully exploit those. It's just the nature of the applications. But one of the interesting trends that we are seeing, which we're pretty excited about, is that there's a lot of work going on now of people rewriting applications to truly exploit multiple threads or multiple cores inside of the servers. But that's definitely a trend. I think the other thing you're going to see as we move forward through 2008 is higher speed processors. So processors that are going to have higher performance levels, and it's a little bit of a trade-off from the power. Then at the other side, you're going to see processors that may not run as fast, but are going to have the best characteristics from a power perspective, so our HE parts, which are really power-driven. Right. And then as we head into the back half of the year, you're going to see us move to 45 nanometers with Shanghai. And in addition to the shrink to 45 nanometers, you're also going to see us do some things at the cache, which we think in certain application segments is going to make us more competitive.
And what's the top speed grade now on Barcelona?
So today with Barcelona, we're going to announce at 2.3 gigahertz, and it'll go from 2.3, and we'll have multiple variants, down the stack.
Okay, thank you, Kevin Knox of AMD, and I'm Alex Wolfe from Information Week.